Going. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Ubuntu Touch Q&A, the UBports Foundation show discussing the development of Ubuntu Touch and our community's questions. This is episode 54, streamed live on July 13th, which Jan insists is bad luck, 2019. My name is Dalton, and joining me this week are Jan.
Hello.
And Florian.
Hi.
All right, not quite a full house this week, although the definition of full house is highly disputed among the members here, but I think we can handle it. Is a full house 5? Is a full house 4? They won't answer me.
Nobody knows.
You didn't ask us.
I stopped asking after we
It's
couldn't
more
agree.
like, what is it called? Royal Flush or something like this. I don't know. I mean, poker is not my game.
All right, I know who I'm betting against.
Yes.
All right, so roundup of news and questions this week. As always, we're going to talk about what's been going on in the community. So, first up this week, we've got the OTA 10 almost release. We're preparing Ubuntu Touch OTA 10 for release, but we've hit a snag. So right now, we had the camera fix, which does successfully fix the Fairphone 2's camera. It's not flipped over anymore on the new camera module. But some other cameras got flipped or rotated or weird things happened. Turns out if you don't engineer something right the first time, as in way back in the history of this, like the first implementation of this, it causes problems down the line.
So I think we are good with taking a little bit more time on this one to get it right, to get the rotation information for the cameras from the right source, to make the right interpretation, and to get everything aligned. But unfortunately, not every developer has all the devices, so he cannot test locally, and so things got a little bit messed up on the Devil, and I don't know if on RC maybe also already.
Nope, we blocked RC.
Oh, we can block it, right? So, but on the Devil currently you have a lot of rotation issues, and also there are some reports about camera app problems from OpenStore, which we have to investigate a little bit. It should not leak there, actually.
So that has been resolved now. The issue was the system settings upgrader would not say what frameworks the image had. Which isn't the correct use of the API, but it's the one that got implemented. So it was offering the new camera app to users who wouldn't be able to use it.
Yeah.
If that's you and your camera is now flipped upside down, you've got camera app version 3.1.0 on your stable Ubuntu Touch device. Give me a ping. I did build an older version of the camera app from the source on GitLab, and that can be downloaded from the GitLab CI. It's not a great option, but it'll work for the few users who got affected by that.
Dalton, since you mentioned that not every developer has every device, obviously, this is a good time to make a call to action for people to join the QA and testing group, where oftentimes if a developer has something that they want to have tested on every device, they will just put it in there, and then people can come and report the results. So that would be the Telegram channel UBports_QA_team. So you can just go ahead and join there, and then you can be in on the fun.
Absolutely. Good call to action. Other things happening. So for a little bit of context, this camera issue, before we were just using mostly device-specific hacks to determine which way the camera was mounted on the device. Yeah, I can do that again if you want.
Someone make that into a GIF.
And now we're getting that information directly from Android, but sometimes the information from Android isn't 100% sane. So we're dealing with that at the moment. Other things. Yeah, join the QA team. Do that. And if you have any questions about that, there is documentation in the contribute section on the UBports documentation, docs.ubports.com. you can learn all about getting involved with Ubuntu Touch there, from the QA team and reporting bugs effectively to contributing to the documentation itself. That's another thing that would be awesome for people to get a check out at. And Jan did just post that in the supergroup.
Not everything. You're too fast. Slow down.
I can't slow down. I have the need for speed. Other things that are coming up in OTA 10, which were merged since the last time that we talked, include fixes to the Fairphone 2 headphones. Did you know that left and right were backwards for the longest time? Yeah, I didn't either. But that's fixed now. And we've switched from using the old canonical PPA for Libertine to our own. Not the build of Libertine itself, but the containers that it builds. So now there are a little bit newer packages for some things when you build a Libertine container. So if you rebuild your Libertine container, you will have all of that new goodness. And I don't know if that has directly fixed bugs, honestly, with apps launching or anything, but it did fix an issue with actually installing the container. So that'll be awesome for everyone now. Thanks to Rodney for fixing that up, and thanks for Rachanan for fixing up the Fairphone 2, both the camera and the audio. All right. Jan, you're on the hot seat.
Yes. What?
So it was a beta of the UBports installer, which would include the Edge channel, as well as some other changes to the interface in general. But of course, the question was, Jan, when will you release it? You're tearing me apart.
Yeah, so we made a small interim release to the UBports installer that allows you to install the Edge channel, and yeah, as Dalton said, some small UI fixes. What was it? Some more better buttons, some better UI guidance. I don't remember everything. And I forgot to push it to stable, which upset Dalton. And now it is. Just 5 minutes ago, I pushed it. And
yeah, it is being released
happy.
right now.
Yeah.
So I can stop being torn apart.
Exactly.
So maybe we should just mention that the Edge channel, while it's really Edge, more Edge than Devil is already, has reached a certain point of where you can really give it a try. I put it on one of my devices, and I must say, yes, we made a huge progress there. And I'm really looking forward that Edge will move to Devil after OTA 10, hopefully. And everybody can take a look at the new app drawer function, which includes that really awesome app search field. And I hope it will really search for apps in the future. I mean, it is already searching, but I hope nobody's changing his mind and we keep it like that. Yeah? Because if you have installed a lot of apps on the phone, it's really sometimes messy to search, especially if you don't really know what's the exact title on your launcher. For the apps that I only use once in a while. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
But I must say, this thing is really nice. Yeah?
And that's actually why we included it in the installer now, so you can just switch over on, even if it's on your daily driver, just switch over without wiping, and then you can just switch back whenever you want, and you don't lose your data, but you still get a chance to look at the new stuff, and yeah,
shiny,
just makes it easier.
And it is all shiny.
Yeah.
Look at how shiny this is. And I don't mean the glare from the light directly behind the camera.
Well, that was just a kind of collection of icons. Can't you show something more dynamic, like moving out this app drawer maybe or so? One more time for the camera. No, he's too shy.
I have no idea what you're asking me to do. There you go. Linphone. Linphone's a good app. Okay.
It's
Is
starting.
that what you wanted?
No, it doesn't matter. Okay, we
Okay,
continue.
awesome. And then as for that merge from Edge to Devil, that's one of those soon TM kind of things. We don't have an exact ETA yet. That'll be merged
Okay.
when it's ready for users.
The ETA for that
Alright.
OTA is ASAP.
Oh no, I'm gonna have to start using that now.
But it's clearly not before OTA 10 because we must bring first OTA 10 to all the stable users.
Yeah.
So we need the Devil
Yep.
channel to be in the same shape.
Unblocked.
Unblocked, and we have a nice pipeline, so we cannot put things first in that wouldn't come out then at the end. Everything comes out again what we put in at the beginning. Okay, that's too philosophical at the moment.
And speaking of getting things out from what you put in, Florian, I heard that you
Yes.
have a new app update coming out soon.
Well,
But
yeah.
when is it? You're tearing me apart.
Yes, it's of course, when I'm talking about the app releases, it can only be teleports. So there was a long time without any updates now. I'm sorry for that. Various factors contributed again to lagging things. But in the background, we actually put stuff inside. So it was not that nobody worked on it, but it's just wasn't stable enough to get released without small glitches that we wanted to first remove. So the plan is now that we are more or less feature freezed for teleport 030, which the major function that will come in will be support for forwarding. Currently, you cannot see when you receive a forwarded message that it has been forwarded. So there is now some annotation for this. And also for the active part, you can then forward messages, including specifying a comment message that will put, as you have in the official apps, you can put another message for the destination there. So you can then send and receive forwarded messages. And that's really nice because it's one of the features that was lacking now for a long time. The second thing is that despite we have the usual things like translation updates, new languages coming in, small UI fixes, the right colors for Suru, pop-up dialogues, which have a colored button and a gray button. So it's very important that it's the right one that is colored. And yeah, we went over that. But a nice one is also connection.
I know who convinced you to do that.
Finally, yes. We will have a connection indicator. I can give a small demonstration maybe of this. It
shows when you're offline.
Yes, but why is this important? It's not important that much if you know that you're offline. You can see now that here we have this nice bar at the top that is moving left and right, you know, the usual thing. So teleport is doing something. It's trying to connect to the
You know, we
source.
can see your messages, right?
Yes, that's okay. I think it's only part of the messages.
Okay.
But to make it a little bit more generic, then I can. Okay, I cannot. The thing is, why it's important with the status indicator or connection indicator, it's also telling you that you're not connected to any network, but in the background, it will have a superpower of telling the TD-lib library that it's not connected to a network. And that will greatly reduce reconnection time. So when you focus the app again or you unlock your device and TD-lib doesn't know that it needs to reconnect, it will just wait for a timeout on the socket, and that can be awfully long. Yeah? So with determining the right connection state, that gets reported by Ubuntu Touch, but also that we can see if the app has been focused or not, and we are reporting this. We can hopefully reduce reconnection times drastically. So that's the second major feature for that release. Yeah, and the rest we will see. It's about to be released in, I don't want to be precise, but it will be after my 1 week of holiday now. So start looking after, I don't know, 24th or so for new teleports update. It should be good then.
It's going to be pretty cool.
Maybe another sentence, because there was a new TD-lib version released, so we are relying on the official TD-lib library for the low-level client part. which has a new release now with another ton of features. We are not going to update that soon because they introduced a lot of API changes, as we feared, and we don't want to have so many work with that. We will go with the old TDLib version as long as we still have features to implement that are not implemented. One of the things that highly requested is voice messages, and we're looking into this now. You can record again with a push of a button some voice messages. But as long as we are not maxed out our potential with the old TDLib, we will not upgrade to the new one. It will otherwise bring in new stuff that we are not able to implement immediately and will change all the APIs, and we don't want this. No, not all, but some of them.
Did I also hear that they force pushed that over the old version?
No, it's not
Okay.
that bad, but they forced push all the commits on one day. So for months we were waiting for the new release, and there was zero activity in GitHub, and then suddenly you had 2,000 commits, and you didn't know where they're coming from. So you cannot really follow the development. You just get snapshots there, and yeah, I mean, it's a philosophy. It's not the best one in my opinion. They are working on a private repository, and then when they make a new release, they're just force pushing. I don't know if they really forced push, they're just pushing everything what they have, and it's hard.
So more of the Android development model than the community development model.
Yeah, more or less. Yeah.
So you also don't really have a chance to contribute something upstream.
No, you cannot contribute in this way to TDLib, because if they always just release that 2,000 commits in a row, you don't know what's on the roadmap. There's a good bug and issue tracker you can ask. You get a lot of answers there, but they won't let you look into your hand or into your stack of cards first, in their stack of cards, what they are going to do. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yes, but I must say still it's an awesome thing, and we didn't really use all the features now. So the connection thing is one of the nice features. The next thing will be about also notification improvements. So there's a lot of things on the branches that we have, but for the next release, just expect forwarding as the main feature. I think that's already great.
Awesome.
That should work.
All right.
I can stage one more. There is also jump to the unread messages thingy. We already have an experimental branch that when you enter a new chat, that you automatically move to the last read message, and then you have an indicator unread messages, and then below you have all the unread stuff, and not move just to the last message in the chat.
Awesome.
It's already under test. Yeah. So, but I think it's not for 0.3. Let's see.
Now you boned me out. It's going to be a great release either way.
Yes.
One last thing in this kind of news community section. I looked at the Ubuntu Touch bug tracker today, and I searched for no label. So everything that doesn't have any labels, we don't know if it's a bug or if it needs confirmation or anything. And there's about 65 things there. So it's like, ooh, yee. I let that one go a little too long. So I'd appreciate any help getting that cleaned up a little bit, making sure that everything is confirmed to be either a bug or it doesn't exist. It might just be a hardware issue, or it was just a temporary thing on the user's end. If you'd like to help out with that, it is a really good way to get started with our development processes, our QA processes, basically whatever you want to get into at UBports. This is a really great way to get started contributing. If you ever wanted to give back to this awesome mobile operating system that we all love. And if you do, just give me a ping. I'm at Universal Superbox on Telegram, and Matrix at Unisuperbox on the forum, because character limits. Or just send a message to any of our groups. I'll pick it up. Or someone will message me saying that I need to pick it up. And what we can do is we can get you in on either get your GitHub account access to modify bugs on the issue tracker, or you can just comment on them and say what you think, help out the user if they're just asking a question, things like that. Either way, just get in contact with me if you need any more information. I'd love to get this cleaned up before our next Q&A. With that, let's talk about the people who are already making Ubuntu Touch more possible every day, and that would be our sponsors. I'm getting pretty good at segueing, right? It's not the worst thing in the world.
Perfect.
So thank you to our technology and infrastructure sponsors, including Private Internet Access, DigitalOcean, Smooze, and Packet.net. You're all making it possible for us to build the mobile operating system that we all enjoy. And you're making it possible for us to do that really fast with a 96-core ARM server and a lot of other neat stuff. I'd also like to thank our community sponsors, including Darko Balka, Thoralf San, Laurentin Tillman, Milan Iliv, Scott Marley, Renee Mirkolev, Morgan McMillan, and Sergio Svetsov. If you'd like to hear me mispronounce your name, you can head over to patreon.com/UBports and select the community sponsor tier for your donation. And that's a recurring monthly donation. We super appreciate that from anyone who does it. It's totally optional. And again, we appreciate that. If you don't like Patreon or you don't want to choose the monthly option, you can head over to ubports.com/donate, where we have links to LibrePay, which is another monthly service, as well as PayPal, or if you're still holding out on Bitcoin, it's not really holding out anymore, they kind of won at this point, there's a Bitcoin address there as well. Whew. There we go. Shall we take a couple of questions?
Yeah, let's do that.
All right. So we take these questions from the UBports forum. The thread is usually posted around Tuesday before the show, depending on whether or not I get the link out or not. And we take questions from there for the show. So first up this week show, from Dom UBPKM, could you explain, seen from the user experience side, which current problems or bugs will be automatically corrected by new Mir and new Unity 8? All right, so this is one of those things where we always said it'll be fixed with new Mir, right? That'll get better with new Mir, and that's everything including Libertine, hardware acceleration on some things, just a lot of stuff.
Libertine is a big one, just compatibility with desktop apps.
Yeah, for sure. But in the short term, you won't be seeing that. It's more of enabling that technology for later. What you will see, specifically, I know, because I have tested this multiple times, is that issue in the browser where you click on a select tag or a selection box and it opens a new window, and other various things where you click on something and it opens a new window like when it's not supposed to. Because Mir has support for some new ways to draw windows inside of other windows, to actually correctly support that stuff from Qt Web Engine and other projects we're using from upstream. So it's more general stability stuff, which right now doesn't sound true with how Edge is. But once the issues, which are mostly in Unity 8 itself, are fixed, you'll be seeing a lot better performance and just everything from the system.
And also because we are then at the level of the current development of Mir as well, we just always get the updates from directly from the Mir development team. So we are not that far behind as we are right now. We are not alone in this anymore. And it also just makes many things easier in the future. It's not really that you can point to specific issues that are fixed with this, but it's just necessary for the future, and it will make our lives so much easier.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. All right. And of course, if you have questions, again, you can send them out either in Telegram or YouTube live chat. It's been a bit of a quiet couple of weeks with the summer heating up, quite literally, for all of Europe. as well as people just going on vacation. So appreciate it. Coming in from Gimped this week on the forum, he talks about making a rough power off icon. Is wondering how he would get it working, or icon animation. So, when you click power off, it actually does something instead of just going to a black screen until it hopefully turns off. Now, the animation as shown is just a few ping images. Most animations, correct me if I'm wrong, would be sort of SVG animations that would be imported into QML and then shown on screen. But it is certainly possible to go into Unity 8 and add that animation after you click the power off button. So it pops up another QML file after you click the power off button. The problem is that Unity 8 stops before the device shuts off. So even then, there will be a little bit of time where the screen is off, but it's not off yet. So it might improve the experience a little bit, but it won't be the perfect power off thing that you see in like newer versions of Lineage OS, where it says power off until it shuts it off. So that's just something to keep in mind there. And Unity 8 does stop pretty early, so you'll see a bit of time there. And I hope that's a good answer for your question.
So that's probably just something to keep in mind when designing something like this. I mean, you could still obviously do something there that just indicates, okay, everything is shutting down right now. But just don't design something that is intended to be shown until the very, very last nanosecond.
Right. Because that won't show.
Yeah.
All right. So now we do have some questions from YouTube live chat. Let's try to take these. Generally, we don't take questions about device ports, but I think that it's been a little while. We can probably do our explanation here. So questions like, is anyone working on a port yet? And when does the image for so-and-so device appear for my device? Yeah, English. So we do have a project that's called Halium, and that is a collaborative project by multiple mobile operating systems. There we go. Thank you. And what that does is it allows all of these operating systems to run on a device, an Android device, with few changes in between all of them. And it's also a place for people to gather and talk about porting Ubuntu Touch and Plasma Mobile and LuneOS to Android devices. Currently, it supports Android 5.1 and 7.1. So if your device came with a version of Android that isn't that, you are already out of the running for being able to port Halium to your device. For now, until that's fixed. So the question specifically for the OnePlus 5T, I am pretty sure that one's not possible right now. I'm pretty sure that did not come with Android 7. 3T did. Did I say something wrong again? Just a second.
I don't know.
Let's Google that.
Let's Google it. No, let's DuckDuckGo it.
Yeah, but Google it. Let's Google it. This common phrase.
I might be wrong.
Let's find
no,
it.
it did come with Android 7. I was wrong. That was dumb. That was a dumb. Dalton is a dumb.
Ooh.
So that is possible. That all is gathered at halium.org, and you can head to the documentation from there. There's tons of information about how to get started with a port and how to continue ports that are already in progress. So there are a lot of people who have come in and started a port, and then life got busy for them. So if you have that device, and maybe you've compiled an Android ROM before, or you have a little bit of experience with development, or you just want to learn a bunch about how a Linux operating system is developed and is put together, all of these things are really good starting points for Halium. So again, that's halium.org. Click on that docs section on the website, and you'll be taken to a whole new world of awesome things for you to get started with. There's a collection of ports already in progress, as discussed before. So basically, any device that you have that was popular in the past few years probably has a port already started, including the OnePlus 3, 3T, 5T. Don't know about the 5. And other similar devices. As for why those ports aren't coming directly from us, of course, that's a function of time. We really appreciate the people who are helping us to port these devices, and we have a bunch of people who are helping us fix the problems that Halium has working with Android 7.1 devices. So we're seeing those ports come along as time progresses. I hope that answers that question again. Fuse Team asked a question. How feasible is it to emulate the device kernel on a newer kernel for Ubuntu Touch? All right. I think what he's talking about is using these older Android drivers that need like kernel 3.10 with like kernel 5.2. Does that make sense? Am I reading that right? You guys think?
Yeah, I guess.
Okay. Basically not possible at all.
Yeah, I agree.
Did you try to
TLDR
upgrade the kernel
not
on your
possible.
Nexus 6P?
No. That's a problem with the drivers, and you cannot just emulate things because newer kernels might need information in a different way. Okay, then you can maybe somehow convert things. But as soon as you come into the order of system calls and function calls, it's not possible to emulate the right signatures on some things because they need newer information that is not provided by the driver and so on and so on. And that will lead into a lot of crashing and not working kernels.
Unless you're
nobody
talking
ever
about
tried this.
actual hardware virtualization, and then performance would just
Yeah, but then you're
go
back
in
on
the
square
toilet.
one. Then you're using the original kernel again because you're
Yeah.
virtualizing everything for the. So
Yeah.
there is no real point in doing this, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
Yeah, not right now at least. That would be a super interesting technology if it existed. But I'm not sure that, one, it's feasible, or two, that anyone would want to work on it. Because, oh, geez.
Yeah, it also takes too much time. Actually, our time is limited, and we should focus on other things than trying to get new kernels into old devices, which doesn't have that much benefit firsthand.
Like new
Because
kernels on new devices.
yes, put kernels on new devices. That's much more interesting for everyone and also much more future-proof.
Speaking of, PineTab dev kits are shipping out, so that's super awesome. And I'm excited and super hyped, and I love it. And also, Pine64, yeah, let's give them a little bit of a shout out because their Pinebook Pro is also on the block for pre-order. And that would make it super easy for people who just want to develop and compile natively from their device for ARM devices. That makes that so much easier. So, Pinebook Pro, ARM laptop, looking pretty cool. Reviews should be out shortly. No, sort of. It's a different situation because only 5 of them exist right now. All right. Well, does anyone else see anything? Oh, Wayne in the supergroup asks, do you intend to add a feature to be able to import OpenVPN files through system settings? All right. So this is something that someone thought existed before. I'm pretty sure this can be done from the command line because it just uses Network Manager on the back end. But as for the interface itself, it's still possible, but it's not on our map at the moment. What you would do is add a little piece of code to system settings to allow it to take in those files from Content Hub and then pass that on to the Network Manager backend, which would be pretty awesome. And I'm not sure about the complexity of that, but it could be a good place to get started. Not sure yet.
Shouldn't be too bad.
Right. And I'm not sure about what the commands would be to import that into Network Manager either. I'm sorry. But there are a couple of tutorials on the UBports blog for setting up OpenVPN connections. And you can find that at ubports.com/blog/1. I don't remember what the number of the blogs were, but you can find it there. All right. Anyone else see anything here? Anything burning that people want to talk about? Either you two?
No.
All right. Well then. I'd like to give a big thank you to everyone who makes this show possible, including, of course, my co-hosts who I unfired last time. And I'd also like to thank all the people in the back end who helped this out, including Lionel, who does the transcription note-taking for the blog, so you can find the notes from these sessions on the blog after they're finished, as well as Lakota Nigel, who gets everything posted and scheduled and on social media so people know about these before they're live. Super thank you to those guys for that. I'd also like to thank everyone so much for watching. Sorry, now just now I'm seeing questions come in, but we're running this thing into the ground. You can find us throughout the week if you have those burning questions that you still want to ask on Facebook, Twitter, PixelFed, Mastodon, LinkedIn, Instagram, as well as news directly to your brain from Telegram, Diaspora, or Matrix. And you can also chat with us on Matrix, Telegram. For longer form content, we have our forum, and we're also #UBports on Freenode. Now, that is bridged to Telegram. I'd like to thank you all again so much for watching. Leave a like if you appreciated this episode. Leave a comment if you'd like to yell at me about something. That's always fun. And we will see you all in the next one. About 2 weeks. Bye-bye.
Hi.
Bye.